Have you ever felt left out? Just kind of like, oh, you're not cool enough to do something. I know for me growing up, that was pretty much, you name it, most of my high school experience, if not my middle school experience. I had turned to video games to enjoy playing and doing things by my lonesome, and then found other friends that did the whole thing with me, and then we played video games together. We used to do that in high school as well, play video games in the racquetball courts, and then later on did more and more, but I still never felt like I was included. The primary reason is because gaming as a whole was very much so console versus PC, Xbox versus PlayStation. Nintendo, not really. They weren't really the big hitters back in the day, at least not back in my day. For a short while, I guess they kind of did, but for me, I just was always handheld, so it didn't matter. Well, the Steam Deck has kind of, for the first time, allowed me to feel included in a gaming conversation I've otherwise had to just kind of chalk up to the fact that I don't use PC. I'm a Mac user. I have always been a Mac user. I don't think there's anything wrong with PC at all. It's just I learned how to use Apple products for my primary computing, and I never turned to PC. There was elements of PC gaming that I always wanted to experience, but I couldn't do it because, well, it just wasn't possible. I didn't have one. I got to play first-person shooters on my Mac, but I was limited to only a few. I mean, the first being Medal of Honor and then Allied Assault, and then later I did get into Halo a little bit, but that ended up dying on the Mac once they sold it, and lo and behold, we are here. PC gaming has always kind of just eluded me. I never was involved in it. And then later in my gaming life, I'm like, I want to try PC gaming out. But like I wanted to primarily make sure that I still had some sort of flexibility in location. My gaming was always done handheld. Even though I did have consoles from time to time, still, the handheld situation was very important to me. So if I was going to get into PC gaming, it'd have to be a laptop. And back in like the 2010s, that just wasn't what you did. You didn't go out and get a laptop to do your gaming. It just wasn't going to work well for you. Now, I mean, last year or year before last, this guy right here was my entry level into PC gaming, but it just wasn't a good experience for me. I didn't enjoy playing games on the laptop. It was missing something. It was sure portable, but had to be plugged into the wall and stuff like that. Well, lo and behold, we have something like the Steam Deck that grants you access to all these things, and there's other devices that do the same, but there's something about this that stuck with me. I've tried the other two, and there are like just these very small, extremely important features that the Steam Deck has that I don't know if it gets discussed. It's not performance, because we know that the performance isn't there. Some would say, oh, it's optimized, so it's going to work better, but it doesn't even have to do with optimization. Not at all. Oh, is it the UI? While the UI is very nice, I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy the UI. I'm not going to be sold a device that is underpowered just because it's really easy to use. There has to be a lot of other things going for it. I mean, Nintendo, sure, that's the definition of Nintendo's Switch's platform, but people don't hold on to the Switch because the UI is good and the device is portable. They hold on to that device because there are games that work on it, and there are franchises that people are, I mean, myself included, pretty much married to. We're going with blue today. How exciting. Something that introduced me to PC gaming, really sparked this new excitement for gaming in this form factor, and eventually learning some stuff on PC while I don't main the PC, and this isn't even mine, it's my buddy's. Still, it's introduced me to a world I otherwise would have skipped, is the fact that you have something called verified, playable, unsupported. This great on deck, games on deck category, this section of the store that is dedicated to revealing to you which games actually work well on this machine, is so huge. I would go as far to say that that in it of itself was the reason why I felt comfortable leaving the more traditional console gaming type of experience and investing more of my time and money in this kind of form factor. One, the form factor itself is great, but I'd be the first to admit the hybrid nature of the Steam Deck is far from perfect. You have to go through plenty of hoops for resolution and frame rate settings to properly get the right scaling option. And from time to time, you'll have your Bluetooth controllers just disconnect on a whim if you use Bluetooth. 2.4, haven't had that issue. That isn't the best experience. Now, it is a little bit more nuanced for me because I am in an extremely unique situation when it comes to this. Like I use a TV as my desktop. That's not normal. I don't know if you do that. If you do, hey, let me know in the comments. But I use the LG C2. It's a TV. Not only is it a TV, it's an OLED TV. So I see every nook and cranny, and playing games like Kingdom Hearts, which is incredible, by the way, doesn't look perfect. I know that my experience is less than optimal on something like this, but that's not really important to me. By experience, I mainly see visual experience because of something like Great for Deck, right? That section right there pretty much eliminates the question, which is, will this run on my Steam Deck? Will this actually play? And when most of us who are in the PC gaming space are turning to Steam to manage our games, sure, there are other ways to do it, but let's be honest, Steam is the primary library manager that a lot of us use. When most of us are turning to that, and we have an additional layer of help when it tells us, yo, you're actually going to be just okay if you get this game here. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to perform well, which we're going to get to in a second, but the fact that the game itself, when you launch it, it recognizes that the device you're using is a controller and you don't have to prompt anything. Oh my gosh, that is so important. There's no figuring out different inputs. There's no things like that. That's incredible. Now, not all games that are unsupported even mean that they don't work. For instance, I have Kakarot, and with DBZ Kakarot, it is an unsupported game on my Steam Deck. No issues. None. Actually, it runs flawlessly, if I'm being honest with you. 60 frames per second is incredible. But it is technically unsupported. And there are other games that are playable, like some of my favorite Final Fantasy franchise, some of my favorite Final Fantasy games, not franchise, you get what I'm saying. Like Final Fantasy X, for instance, even 7. Super not perfect. Final Fantasy VII, it takes quite a bit of an effort to just get the thing going. You have to sign into Square Enix, you got to get everything going, and then hopefully you can prompt a keyboard to register the fact that you're actually typing in the text box. It's not perfect. And these are some of the hoops you have to jump through when using a device like this. But still, when it comes to the very section, Great on Deck, and the fact that when you go into the store here, it defaults it, whether you like that or not, it makes someone like myself, someone who is looking for the practical way, someone who's looking for the easier and far more convenient way to play the games I want to play in between making dinner, wiping my kid in his diaper, and putting children to sleep. Those precious moments when I'm hiding in the bathroom. Those are the moments that I'm like, oh, cool, I can boot this and go. That is huge. And the barrier of entry isn't low because the UI is good. It's low because Steam themselves, Valve themselves, have decided we're going to take the experience of using a device one step further. Because the support isn't in the fact that the games work well or the device runs well or is powerful. The support in this device is that the provider of access to these games is simplifying the process and providing the purchaser with an incredible amount of information up front to set expectations. And I think with video games as a whole, setting expectations is the number one most important part of all of it. That's where we're at in the industry. Setting expectations, this is the biggest problem. I mean, I'll give you a personal example. I have set expectations. I have told you I'm going to do a certain thing. I then either don't follow through, I show up late, or I change it on you. It breaks trust. It breaks that relationship, and it causes dissonance in a space. And even if you're a fan of the person or the thing, you go, why am I here? Part of the reason why I still do adore my Nintendo experience is because the expectations have been set pretty simply, And they deliver, right? The fact that they were able to pull off the switch the way that they did, they established a lot of trust. Are they milking the product for records? I don't know. Do I care? Not really. Actually, I don't care at all. They've set the expectations pretty well. Now, they've broken them too. Pokemon, not good. They have not delivered on that promise. Not in the slightest. But Tears of the Kingdom, destruction, pure joy, pure pandemonium. And these are all good things. I know those are bad things, but also good things. Super Mario Odyssey, great. The All-Star Series, or Superstar, however you want to call the Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy little thing that they did. Kind of weird. Money grab? I don't know. Setting expectations is so important. And the experience I've had with this and why it's made me like a console convert almost is because they give you so many options. Part of the reason why I was such a huge Xbox Series S evangelist back in 2021 is because of how they gave the gamer a lot of options. They said, hey, we understand things are weird, things are crazy. Don't buy any games right now and just use our sub-service. We're going to keep adding to it. They set an expectation. They said, we are going to add to this, and it's going to be a AAA experience, and it's going to be good. I feel like that hasn't been delivered. Maybe technically they have done exactly the words that they said, but when you say you're going to add value, it's expected, right? And for me, I didn't see that, but it's another conversation for another time. Setting those expectations were huge. And with this, they go, okay, here's the decision-making process. This is a verified game, which means your experience should be simplified. Now, performance-wise, you're going to have to do little things here and there. Now, for instance, Kingdom Hearts, incredible. The visuals aren't perfect, and there's some shadows and shadings issues that here and there that aren't present on the PlayStation version, but still, I'm able to get 90 frames per second, and in some areas, 120 frames per second. Kind of crazy when I'm casting to my TV. I'm able to push it that hard. But also, what's great about this is some of the things that come with being a Valve Steam-based device. You have a trial period. There's limited hours. I think it's 2 hours. I don't know the exacts. You have a trial period on all games. And if you don't like it, you return it full price. And it happens. That's really nice. Really nice. Especially when you're using a device like this. You go, oh, this is verified for deck. Resident Evil 4 remake or whatever it's called. I'm going to play this. Oh, I'm struggling to get 30 frames per second unless I crank down the visuals and it's just so blurry. This isn't for me. I'm going to return it. No questions asked. You're good to go. Go ahead. That kind of experience for me, someone who values my time, someone who is looking to hyper optimize this experience the best I can because I just don't have all the time of the day anymore because of being a family man. That's huge for me. I feel respected. I feel like expectations are set. The expectation is that your experience is going to be good. And if it's not, we will rectify it to the best of our ability, which in some cases is just return the game. It's not going to work for you. That's huge. Now, I understand that that's a Steam thing. You can return your games on Steam on your computer. You can return them if you're using a Legion Go. You can return them with the Asus ROG Ally or Ally X. You can do that anywhere. The difference herein lies, there's still the element of, is this going to work well? Is this going to be designed in such a manner that I'm not going to experience issues when I'm using these portable devices? That is so massive for someone like myself who is looking to just play, not tinker all the live long day. And I understand that that's a part of the PC world, which I get into here and there, but realistically, that tinkering should be the very first, and that's it if you have to. In this case, a lot of times, you don't have to. Unless you want to hyper optimize, and then you can also go into the community settings and see who has done what, and maybe ask some questions, go on Reddit, and see what's happened. The support for a device like this is massive. Just massive. And as someone who is exploring different avenues and has decided to kind of put my flag into a specific space to learn more, This for me excites the gamer in me because it allows me the freedom to enjoy without having homework. Man, it did not feel the same way when I was using this. So when it comes to this guy right here, that's one of the things I think is huge. And searching for a game with the green check mark, though it's not required, will give you quite a good, solid feeling inside. Like, this is verified. It's going to work. And I'm curious how the industry is going to respond to this verified, this Steam verified kind of thing. I think it's a very, very good badge system. Verified, unsupported, and what is the other one? Playable. Honestly, playable half the time is just that the on-screen keyboard doesn't prompt right away. That's not that big of a deal. You just prompt it yourself. All right. Enough of that. If you want to see me use this thing on streams, you can go ahead and head over to Twitch/JDX Twitch.tv/JDX Coffee, whatever it is. JDX Coffee. Come join us over there. We're hanging out, having a good time. And I think that's it. It is. All right. As always, happy gaming.